Okay, so far we've seen mathematical operators, relational operators, and if you look at how we have to display this fraction, it might be nice to do something like this and use our output operator, right? The same way that we do for other data types. And this is also just an operator. So we can write an output operator function just like our other ones. So there's a little bit of a difference, and I'm going to explain it down here. If you look at this, remember that the operand on the left calls the function, right? In this case, right? All of these cases. The problem with the output operator is that the operand on the left is not from this class. It's actually an O stream, cout. So if it's not a class object, you can't make it a member function. But we still wanted to access the private data members, so what we're going to do, instead of making it a member function, we're going to make it a friend function. So the idea would look like, the function looks like this. You're going to pass it cout, and you're going to pass it a fraction, okay, in this case 1/2. Now you might say, well, the thing on the left-hand side is a string. Okay. Well, I agree with that statement. So let's talk about what happens when you concatenate the output operator, which means you have more than one of them in the same statement. This is the first thing that happens. And this calls the output operator that has cout and a string, and it displays fraction 1/2 is to the screen. And then what's left is this. It returns the output operator function itself returns cout, and then it looks like this. Okay, so first time through, it calls this function with our string. I guess I got a typo there. Should be 1/2. And this goes out and it finds the output operator that works with strings, and it'll display fraction 1/2 is, and it returns cout. So that returns cout, and then it finishes up the rest of the statement. So this guy calls the operator function with cout and our fraction 1/2. And this is the one we have to write. And that function call itself returns cout. So what's left in our statement is cout and L, and this calls the operator output function that works for chars, because that's a string. And this function call returns cout, and then the compiler's like, okay, cout semicolon, I'm done. So this is kind of the process that happens when you concatenate or join together the output operator. But they have one that works for strings, and they have one that works for characters in our IOStream library. We need to write the one that works for fractions, okay? And again, it's going to be a little bit different than our other ones because it's going to be a friend function. Operator, okay? The first parameter is cout, and cout, the data type of cout is an O stream. And then our second parameter is going to be a fraction. Now, this is going to be the point where we are going to have to include the IOStream library in our header file and using namespace standard. Okay. Oh, I'm missing my return type. Sorry, that's a problem. Okay, the return type is an O stream also. Now remember, when you work with streams, whether they're file streams like IF streams or OF streams or O streams, that's the data type of cout, it's an output stream. They always have to be referenced, so they have to have ampersands with them. So we're returning cout, so that's the return type of our function. So now I'm going to write this function. And the friend part only goes in the header file. I know there's a question in the Revel book where they have you write a class that has an output operator, but they're having you add it into the header file, so they're having you make it like an inline function. Okay, then you would need friend, but if it's in a separate CPP file, you don't put the reserved word friend here. So what is it going to look like? It's going to look like this. We're going to, and again, we could put numerator, we could put get numerator, right? Whatever we want. Because friend functions have access to private members as well. And that's right, we wanted to print out the numerator, then a slash, then the denominator. So we want it to look like a fraction when it displays. Let's see what happens. Oh, output operator must return a value. I had a message there. Correct. I've got to return O stream. So, I'm sorry, I've got to return cout. That's what allows us to concatenate or join that together. We keep returning cout after each one so it can finish the statement up. And the data type of cout is an O stream. So that's why it's our return type. Right? And fraction 1/2 is 1/2. That's displaying that right there. And if I wanted to now, I could really get rid of my display function and just use my output operator. Now, some programmers don't like to overload an output operator because they say, well, the user can just, you know, they don't even like to have display functions, honestly, because in your driver you could just use get functions wherever you want them to, display it in your own format. But, the purpose of this chapter is demonstrating how to overload operators. So here you can see I'm using right here those operators in my program now. So that's how to overload, right? I'll call it the output operator. It is the stream insertion operator, technically.